Cheers, COD family, it's your princess. Is EIS dead? I read that line so often in the last week, so I think it's time for some real talk. So I did an interview with the R5 of EIS, Dark, and he will answer all the questions about the future of EIS and share his thoughts about the upcoming KVK. Stay tuned! Welcome to my new video, and if you like and enjoy my content, please subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification, then you won't miss out when I will share a new video or will go live. And if you want to support me, drop a like on the video and comment down below, because today we go into the details about EIS. How is the future of EIS looking? What are the plans of our leader and server king Dark? And how do he think about the upcoming KVK we have over here? You see, it will be EIS Pay to Win, BXS and Kong versus Echo, Chi, RAC and RK. And this KVK can be one of the biggest KVK in Call of Dragons history. So a big, lovely welcome to our King Dark. You see it here on EIS. We have currently a space theme for the new season, so he renamed in Dark Admiral. But I'm happy he is here today with me in the interview. So big welcome to you, Dark.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We talked a little bit earlier that we make a little bit of interview, a little recap about our last season and especially the KVK, which is upcoming. What are the EIS plans for the future? So let's jump into it. Our last KVK we had against BDO, NF57, Bossy, Cheese3N. Can you give us a little bit your review on that KVK? How was it for you? How are your thoughts? How happy were you with the EIS team, with the results? Would be super nice to hear how your thoughts are on that last KVK we had.
Yeah, I mean, I thought last season, like early on, it was pretty fun, and then towards the end, we had a little lack of fighting, which was kind of sucked. We've had a long off time there. I think the last 3 weeks of the season we didn't fight, heading into Home Kingdom being a long, boring time. So I mean, we're more than excited for this next season. Fighting NF57 in Zone 2 was great, and it was super fun to see how active we were and see how many people we had on the field. It didn't last very long. I think that's actually due to the developers leaving the engineering buff heading into Zone 2 still. So people can burn flags extremely quick, and so the weaker team typically gives up really fast. And I think that kills a lot of wars. I think I can even remember BXS against TFS the season before that. The same thing kind of happened with them. They died in a few hours, and the PvP kind of stalled until Zone 3, right? So hopefully, I think that's something they can fix. I think the season overall was fun. At the beginning, anyway. At the end, it's easy to say it was boring, because at the end it was really bad, leading into Home Kingdom. But I think overall it was okay. I mean, I would give it like a 6 out of 10 in terms of fun. One of the teams that was on the enemy side called Row, them and BB were basically 30 build power combined, and we thought they would be able to give a decent fight to NA or Ancients, and we knew NA and Row would be fighting in Zone 3, and then BDO would be able to enter, so we thought in the middle of like NA and Row fighting, like BDO would be pulling in with a weakened NA, and then we would have to come in and assist, and that's not how it went at all. Row just kind of got absolutely destroyed by Ancients and NA, so that kind of is a lot of what led to the season being boring, because BDO decided not to enter the final zone or anything like that. But overall, like, I think our players were really bored from it. Some quit the game, It was just a very lackluster season. And I know a lot of people are really excited for this next season, so I'm happy for it to be coming around.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I remember that. I think we had the KVK, the first half was very good, as you said, and F57 in Zone 2. And even when we were entering Zone 3 and we had to go through all the tower defense, all the bastion fights.
Yeah.
But now we have even a better matchup coming, and that matchup will be EIS, BXS, Pay to Win, and Kong versus Echo, GG, RAC, and RK. And here you see a little bit the map overview. When we got the matchmaking announcement, I said it already in an earlier video, that is my favorite matchup I want to have, that I want to have the Echo group. What were your thoughts when you saw the matchup, Doc?
I was happy because I either wanted the BDO SSG matchup, WGL and DBB, or I wanted the Echo GG RAC matchup. Now, I knew with RAC being added, since they were a B Paragon and Echo wasn't a Paragon, that their matchup, they were able to form a very, very, very strong team. But after last season, I thought it was really good to go play a really strong team because we're just going to get a lot of fights. And I actually think the devs did a good job by designing the map. So it looks like, because it looks like we're going to get to fight each teams going in. It looks like in Zone 2, we're going to be able to fight RAC and GG. And I think we'll be able to get, several days of PvP out of that, I hope. And that will be really good. And then we get to go over and fight Echo and RK next, separately. And I think that would be several days of fighting as well. And then you go into the final zone and get several days of fighting. So I think it's more divided up, where in other seasons there were possibilities to have no fights in a zone, or there were possibilities to have a really slow fight, where I think combining the two teams is going to add to a lot of PvP. And so that I'm looking forward to more than ever. And really, I just wanted the challenge of Echo and GG and RAC's group and RK group, or the BDO SSG WGL and DBB row. It's a lot to say, but I don't like to leave teams out. I think those matchups were the best. I would have, before the teams were formed, I wanted to fight LTS too, because they're brand new coming in. I think it'd be fun to fight big teams like LTS, but I mean overall their teammates they formed with, like, compared to the teams we formed, Echo formed, BDO formed, they were down like 300 T5 members, so I just didn't want it to become a situation where we go win really easy again and then it's just boring the whole season. So when I saw Echo get locked in, I was really happy.
It is also interesting, will there be a Zone 1 invading possible? That would change a little bit the situation as well. Do you think that is possible at the end, or do you think they just made now sure that everyone gets Dragon access?
Yeah, I don't know. Before, because last season, they randomly revoked the Zone 1 invades, which I'm not sure why, because you could always return to Home Kingdom. I mean, Nor tried to invade our Zone 1 the season before that, and, it gave us extra PvP, and we fought them there. So I wasn't quite sure what the issue was with Zone 1 invades. I think this season they might have added them back because of how there's less zones. So I feel like after the Dragon Zone, they would give an opportunity to invade. But maybe they won't, just off the sense that whoever wins Dragon Zone, they can send any of their teams to any of the Zone 1, so they could, stack like 3 people against one and against one camp, and the other camp won't even be able to help. So I don't know how they thought about it, but it's possible that we have Zone 1 fights from that, and I guess we'll see when we load in. We don't know much about it.
When we look at it, what is the difference right now of the EIS from the last KVK? And when we look right here now at our server power, how is EIS looking? You see over here, we're currently still building up some shells, but we get now the main power together here in EIS. You guys can see on the screen 19 billion power. Then we have 4 billion power in EIC and 1.8 billion power in EIL. So what happened with people who migrated out? I know we got some good new special migration recruits over here. It's Medusa and Slayer from Noir who joined us, and Toby from Sun came. What are your thoughts? How many members do we have right now, Dark? What do you think about the changes? Some people migrated out. We have less players. We can't recruit really much. How do you think is the EIS situation right now in point of activity and point of members, etc.?
Yeah, I think our activity per member is as good as it's ever been. No one, we didn't drop out on activity too much, I don't think. I mean, last season during the BDO season, we had a town hall, we had a 180 people show. This season we had a town hall, we had a 180 people show. So even though we're down, we had a bunch of people we kicked, we had some people who decided to leave, we had a few that chose to leave, we had a lot of people we kicked. So we lost like 40-ish members, and we're still having the same exact VC turnout. So if anything, I think people are more motivated and more excited. There were obviously some internal issues with some members, so that killed some people joining VC who would normally join VC, and I think this season you see them back in VC, so it's really good. I don't think it hurt our activity at all. Obviously you have less power, you have less T5 units, you have less troops total, but I don't feel that much weaker than we did last season. I don't feel that much weaker I mean, I do feel a lot weaker than we did 2 seasons ago because that team was insane. Just a lot of players honestly dropped off because they were just straight up bored of the game, which is why we are actually talking about making some plans in the future, but I think we can talk about that later. But a lot of players, dropped off the game from boredom and Home Kingdom and just not enjoying it anymore. But the North season, we had like 368 members, if that gives you a perspective. And I think this season we have 258, so we're down 100 players from when we first let everyone in the server. Day one of global migration ending. I mean, a lot of people also got in that shouldn't have even come in that, so we knew we were going to lose players. There were people that got in that were not of the criteria I gave when I said, like, we need active players, they need to be a high enough power to compete in our server. Like, some of them were 30 mil. We still gave them a chance, let them try, but a lot of people aren't going to be able to keep up in our KVKs at 30 mil power. And some of them were active too, and I felt bad, but I had to tell them, like, hey, like, you would probably enjoy yourself more in another team too, because, I mean, there were some 30 mil players getting 1.5 mil merits on the season because they're up against Nor with maxed artifacts, maxed T5, maxed everything. So we obviously lost a lot of that 100 players over the season, but activity-wise, I don't feel much of a difference. I mean, obvious, like, per member.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at that, and that is so typical for EIS, I put now the screen up from the Brink of War event, and already when the troll event started, EIS was taking the lead directly, and we never gave it up. We ended up that we get 394 million points out of the trolls, and we had a big gap already to the other servers. And when we look at it right now, it is the second day of training. You see it over here. We are at 1.7 billion. We even stopped our big pushers. We had still enough people who could still push. We could definitely go over 2 billion easy if we would like to want. You can see here in the rankings, the other ones kind of gave up going for the rank number 1 and get the 3% damage buffs. But that shows also what EIS is. If it's needed, we are there. We have our activity, and how you said the town hall was full, the voice chat was full, everyone was there, and I think everyone is super hyped about the upcoming KVK. So what do you think realistically? What are the chances for the EIS group here to win that KVK?
Well, obviously, loading into the matchup, I can see numbers just like everyone else can. I can see they have 60 something more T5 players than we have. They have 10 plus 200 mil players than we do, and I think we had 22 more total T5 players on our side. As a all 4 teams combined versus all 4 teams combined. So I think in that regards, it was the closest matchup for Echo though, because the team they formed was just super big. So as far as like second place goes, we were probably it to get their stats as close as possible. So I am looking forward to that. I like our odds. Like, coming in, I saw all the matchups and I was like, okay, they've got a big advantage in this, and this. And, as time gone, the more I looked at the map, the more I looked at everyone's teams, the more we had our town hall and 180 people showed up, even though we had 180 the season before. I wasn't sure if we had a little bit of drop off because, we spent a month in Home Kingdom. So typically in EIS Discord, everyone's in Discord every day, talking, playing games, doing whatever. There were chunks during the Home Kingdom where there wasn't a single person in EIS Discord, and I hadn't seen that since back in like season 1 plus. Like, there's always people in the Discord at all times. At least if it's like 3 people, there's always somebody in there chatting. And so it was really weird to see 0, and I understood it because we had 3 weeks of no PvP at the end of the BDO season, and then a month off in Home Kingdom. And so everyone's just bored out of their minds, started to do other things, started to relax. So some people didn't join VC, and I didn't know how that would affect at least the town hall, because I don't feel a town hall is as exciting as like a first war. Like, I know as soon as activity comes back to fighting, like, EIS would be there. They always have, even if we got lazy at times. But I didn't know how the town hall turnout would be, and to see the same numbers we had last season, even though we lost some players, was really cool to see, and so that made me like our chances even more.
So what will be the strategy of EIS? Have you already something in your mind how we want to go into the season, or do you want to keep it as a secret for now?
You know me, it's gonna our plans are secrets, but yeah, I've got a plan for the season. We really like the matchups as is. We like our Zone 2 and Zone 3 matchups. We think we can win both. The other cool thing is both could go either way. We could lose either one because, like, stats wise, like, everyone's pretty close. So I'm really excited to get a ton of PvP this season. I'm like extra resource healing. Because I'm just pumped because there's going to be a ton of PvP.
I think so too. We have definitely the PvP we ask for. I mean, that leads a little bit to the question we all have anyway, probably to burn our resources that season because Dark allowed me already that I can talk about it. Everyone knows the EIS server, we never changed the server. That is the original server. So there is, over the time, a lot of dead weight. People just quit the game. They log off. They don't migrate out their city. And I think even if we get that new update where we can give them the leave tickets, where they get a percentage to cheaper migrate out, and they don't maybe count for the server capacity anymore. We have already so much dead weight on our server. So if the devs make not much changes with the next updates, we need to have a new plan. And maybe, Dark, you can tell us a little bit, what is the future plan of EIS?
Yeah, so I mean, I've told my team, a couple seasons back last season, that I mean, just looking forward and seeing the lay of the land and us being full every season, like we were probably going to need to move servers to reset so we can recruit fresh blood. I mean, fresh blood's just good for everyone, new faces, more exciting. Um, would definitely want to grow activity. I mean, some players just casually drop off over time, but also I understood that like the spot EIS was in, even though we were full, we could compete with any team in the game, and there was no reason to kind of mess with that. So there's the balance of moving at the right time, but also like using what you have when you have it. So I don't want to leave anyone behind. EIS's way has kind of always been, if you do your own work and you hold your own weight, you'll get to stay. I care a lot more about activity than the power of my members. I know there's some other teams out there that will just kick people for being lower power to get in, like the big whales and the big krakens, and that's not exactly what EIS has ever wanted to do. Um, Obviously, we would like big krakens in our team. We've never been a team that's had more than 1 to 2 krakens at a time. A lot of really, really, really big spenders. Those 300 mil players. Like, we haven't had too many of those at one time on our server, like some of the other um, top power teams have. Like, if you go look at any of the other like top 4 teams, they all have a lot of those type of players. And we've always gotten by with just having really, really good activity, having a lot of the mid-tier spenders who resource heal and who are very active and are there. That's always how EIS has won, just being really active and coordinated in VC. And it's worked well for us. I don't ever want to get our team into a state where we're like Nor, where you're just so big that it's really hard to find competition in a matchup. Like it's just not fun, right? And you have players drop off over time. Like I don't want to kick a player who's been with us for 5 seasons, who's done everything he can and is contributing his weight and financially burdening himself to try to keep up with resource healing to contribute to the team, and then we just kick him the next season just because of his power, even though he was active. So we have our own stats and things we do to judge people based on their total power. And if they're keeping up with that, we're more than happy to keep them. So it'll be a little different when we move servers. It'll be hard because we're going to have to make some hard decisions. You can only move 150 people in the first season and, all that kind of stuff. But we're going to be kind of planning that. We might move at the end of this season, or we might move the season after that. I think right now our plans is to move at the end of this season. It just all depends on a lot of factors. Like right now our team can still compete with a lot of people. Right now our team's still really good. But I still understand that at some point we're going to have to move because we're going to go below 200 members, I think, with all the dead weight we have in our server at some point. So it's better to move ahead of time and get ahead of it and recruit new people and get it going that way.
When we look what the server power is, what the devs are going to make the matchup for us, there is a lot of billions of dead weight on our server.
28 bill was last season's power. When we finished, like I said, day one of loading in those 360 people, in the North season, we were 32 billion power. The only team higher than us was TFS at 38 bill power, so a big gap there power-wise as well. They also had more numbers than us in the server. And then everyone else, weren't as close, but then there was a team like Nor that just really stacked heavy on the power and the high T5s to kind of get in their server. So they went a different route with it. I thought like this game would kind of turn into a 2-team thing, and it's always been a dream of ours to have 2 really active teams because we're all about activity more than having like whales and more than having like really high tier like Krakens to just replace active members. Like I'm more than happy to recruit some more, and we need a few more probably. But I don't want to have just a full team of 1 bill players or 300 mil players going down the charts, because I mean, at some point you make yourself too strong, you're just gonna bore yourself into quitting.
What I have experienced, I played now 2 seasons with EIS, that the leadership is knowing each other for such a long time. And it is also, if we are playing in 2 shells, both leaderships from the shells, they are working hand in hand. Yes, it is all from one. So it is super easy to go in the same direction. And we have not the people to fill 2 full shells right now. That is obviously, and we have that weight on our server. And my personal opinion, it's pretty annoying that you have to pay for migration to play with the same team again. And I think that is what the devs have to think about it, that they find a solution for that, because even if we migrate now to a new server and build that everything up new, after 1 or 2 years, people will quit the game again and sit like that weight on your server again. So are we going to pay every 1-2 years again that we can play with the same team? That doesn't make so much sense to me. So I hope for some changes over there. But I said it already, here is the main parts we look at. It is the activity. And what I can also say is probably it is here the family vibes and everything. The mood is so good. Everyone is hyped for that matchup. It is incredible. And how you said, we had basically half of the last season was dead and everyone locked just off. Everyone was bored, and we had 5 weeks of Home Kingdom. But we started Brink of War. We got our matchmaking, and the people are back. They're joining the town hall. They're contributing to the team. Everyone is active in Alliance chats. We have some fun. So what do you think is the secret of EIS, that we are still here, that we are still have that great activity for such a long time?
I think the 2 words I would use is activity and loyalty. We've always been a super active team, and I preach it, and we have the same people since day one, and I've preached activity since day one, and I do everything in my power to be as active as I can and get people to be more active. That's been a culture that's been in EIS, and when you build the culture, everyone else feeds off of it and stays active. I think the thing with loyalty is we have a lot of members still left on our team that are back from season 2 and before. We have a lot of season 1 plus, and season 2 members in our team that makes up like 60-70% of our team. A lot of people from way back in the day, and that's really cool to have those same faces in. And I think a lot of things leaders don't think about and stuff, kind of like I said about just dropping members who are like active players for big players, is loyalty goes both ways. And I feel bad about every member I have to cut, unless they were just super active. Then I don't. If they were super inactive, I don't feel bad at all. But if they're kind of even on the border, I still kind of feel bad. But at a certain point, there has to be like a threshold where you cut somebody. But we always let our members know what the numbers are they need to do and what they need to do to stay, so everyone knows what their expectation is. I think loyalty is the most important part. You know that we have a lot of super loyal members to EIS, and we as leadership have to be loyal to our members too. And I think that goes back to, if somebody's active, you got to keep them. You can't just cut all your active members for the next guy that comes up because he's got more power.
I totally agree. That was my experience as well. When I joined EIS, you get super included. There is a very nice welcome culture when you come in here. And then for sure, we are a competitive alliance. So for sure, we have requirements, what you have to bring. I mean, we want the activity to keep up. So for sure, you have to bring your marches on the field when there is war and when it's needed. But it's also always power-based. It is adjusted how much war we have during the season, etc. So, and in my opinion, all the requirements, if you are active, are really easy to get. So that is what I can say from my side. And I think it is also very special here how the leadership works, especially you, Dark. I mean, I always say that for me, you are the best leader of that game. I have the greatest respect for you because you are there for our team. I will never forget that when you said that in the Noir season. It was like we had that long marches and it was super exhausting. Go there over again. BXS took the pass, TFS took the pass, and you said, guys, I will stay awake and I walk with you over. As long as I have active members here, I stay awake and I walk with everyone who wants to join me over there again and again. And that is kind of how you are. You're always there for the team. When we have war, you are there. And that is has my greatest respect. That's why I feel so good here. Maybe one last question. How would you describe yourself, your leadership style?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd use the word dedicated. I'm definitely dedicated. I'm way committed to the game. I like this game a lot. I work from home, which allows me to have time to kind of check in things, send farmers out, like do things while I'm at home while I'm working, which is kind of cool. I can kind of type on the side while I'm doing my job to members and stay in touch in the game. I think also, like I said, like loyalty and being loyal to the members who are loyal to me. Like I consider these people my friends, right? So, and that's a lot of the reason I am active and dedicated. I'm here as much as for them as they're here for me. So it's just I want to go out there. I want to compete. Like I said, we give a lot of people chances. We haven't had too many people get angry when we kick them, especially even people who've been here a long time. Like if I say, "Hey, sorry, you got to go," a lot of them just say, "Okay," which makes me feel even worse. But they say, "I understand," because they've been in EIS the whole time and they know how it is, right? We're very fair with people and tell them what they need to do ahead of time. And I think being really transparent with your members, they know the drill, they know the culture. And I think building that culture is the most important thing for a team. You have to have a very clear culture and you have to stick to it, and everyone buys into the culture. It's contagious.
When we have the wars during KVK, when you are the war lead, I never saw that before, that you playing 5 marches at the same time you watch us, you give the war call outs, and you always, and that is the special thing on Dark as a war lead, he see the things coming a minute, 30 seconds before. He always make us the right call outs, that we push or that we pull or go left or go right or do that, because he has that overview over the whole map and analyzes the enemy at the same time, and he's fighting and giving the call outs, and that is incredible for me. I never saw that before. It's crazy. I don't know how you do that.
Were you a gamer growing up, Princess? Did you play a lot of games, video games?
Yes, I did, but mostly a little bit on the PC. But then a long time I didn't play. I started again when there are mobile games coming
Okay.
back.
Did you play any like strategy games or anything like that?
I played Age of Empires, and there is a German one.
Uh,
It's called Die Siedler. I don't know how it is called in
yeah,
English.
see, yeah, I played games like Age of Empires, and I played like RTS, like real time strategy games, and so that's kind of what this game is. You're looking at the map, you're controlling units. Now, granted, you're also vocally controlling units by telling your team what to do, but I've just grown up my whole life playing strategy games and playing RTSs where I have to get good at my camera movement and seeing the map and looking at all these different things and controlling units. So I think it just kind of came second nature from doing that my whole life.
Yeah, but it's kind of crazy how you manage it all at the same time. And I think, on the other hand, like you said, that you are such a fair leader. You have your requirements. Everyone knows that. But you're also a friend at the same time. And whenever anyone has an issue or something like that, we can send you a DM on Discord. And you are not like some other kings. They never talk to the members or don't show up often. Or when you send them a DM, they don't answer. I get always an answer if I ask you a question or something like that. And I think that I appreciate a lot here. It is pretty good being an EIS.
Yeah, personally, I feel that I just feel weird that that doesn't happen in other teams. I feel like as R5, that's pretty standard that you would need to, answer members' questions and stuff. But I know there's some other leaders. I mean, especially in history, and I can name some, but I'm not going to. That don't even run their own team. They just sit in R5. They hold the title. They sometimes, bark commands at their R4s and tell them what to do. They give everyone jobs. I mean, all our R4s have jobs, but I see it as my own responsibility to do it as well, and I get hands on with it as well. And my R4s just help me with it. And I know a lot of other R4s just designate everything to their other R4s and let them run the team as a group. So I think as a leader, you should lead by example and you should be an actual leader. So that's kind of how I put myself into the game.
And one last question to you. Beside our KVK we have now upcoming, is there any server which you really want to fight in future, which is not in our KVK right now?
Well, I mean, it all depends because if we keep doing this mode where we pick 4 allies, all the matchups are going to change quite a bit. If we're talking like a single kingdom, I think it's a little unfair for most kingdoms because, I mean, in most regards, we'll have a lot more T5 players, and in a lot of regards, we'll have more members because most teams are 200 or below, so we'll at least have 50, 60 members. And all our members are really, really active, a lot more active than other teams. So there's only a few teams in the game that we can really fight and get a matchup against. I wish EDS would come up to Gen 1. I'm not sure why they don't. I think they would be a good addition for extra teams to fight and be fun. LTS did come up. That was fun. I'm not sure why YY's team Sheesh avoided Gen 1. I was looking forward to fighting them as well. I don't know what their stats were. I don't think they were as big as some of our other teams yet, but they were growing a good community there, so it was cool to have like new faces, new names, and definitely with how the matchups are, where you pick 4 teams, they could have fit in right there as an A team and done well there as well. LTS would be a fun team to fight when they came up. NTS is always fun to fight. They're very organized, very active. Their power's still a little less than ours, but they're growing every season, so I could see them being a good matchup. I mean, obviously you've got Echo, who doesn't want to fight the number 1 kingdom. You're always going to get a lot of action there, at least number 1 in a lot of the community's eyes, and a lot of they have a lot of high power players, so it's always fun to fight them. I guess that's about it. SSG. There we go. I'm trying not to forget anyone. SSG is a good team I would like to fight as well. They came up into Gen 1. They're a new team. And I really want to fight fresh people because we've been seeing a lot of the same names the whole time. And, some new kids are on the block. So that'd be cool to go fight them and see new faces and see new tactics and see new leadership.
Any motivational speech for the upcoming KVK to your EIS team?
Motivational speech, huh? I feel like everyone else is already motivated going into the season. Things that have happened and things that have been said and things that have been done and just the energy and coming back from the boredom. I just think we go out there, like the matchup is they have a lot of more high-power players than us. Let's have some pride in our activity. I mean, you could see it in the Brink of War event. Let's go out there and let's fight like hell, win or lose, and it's going to be a really fun season. So that's my main selling point this season is I always want to go win. I'm always competitive, but this season, I think the main concept is have fun, because last season was so boring. There was some drama with some certain players who are no longer here. So just having that environment of no drama and just going out and having fun, I think is my message to the team. And it feels fun right now. The environment feels really fun. So I'm happy to get into it.
So thank you so much. I mean, I can feel it too. We are in the team. Our Discord got pretty active again. The Alliance chat got active again. So we are ready to jump on Friday in the new season of Strive Dragonfall. So big thanks, Dark, that you were here with me and shared your thoughts with me about the future of EIS, about the upcoming matchups. Thank you so much. Always happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's always really fun talking about EIS, and it's fun talking to you. So anytime.
Thanks everyone for listening to my interview here, and if you enjoyed it, please make sure you drop a like on the video and let me know in the comments below if you have some additional questions to Dark about EIS. And I'm super interested also, what are your thoughts about the upcoming KVK? Who do you think will win this? Please let me know in the comments. And I wish you a great week. I'm super hyped for the upcoming KVK. See you there soon. Till then, happy gaming and much love. Your princess.